Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our show. We are live. This is Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Dr. Glidden is on a much-deserved holiday, as everybody needs once in a while. You got to recharge your batteries every now and then. Now, we're not going to be taking any calls on the show today, and this is going to be a different show. As I said, Dr. Glidden has never, ever once told me what I could or could not cover or talk about on this show. Now, if you're tuning in because you want health advice, that's not going to happen today. We're going to be talking to a very special guest. His name is Reverend Kevin Annett. He was a three-time Nobel Peace Prize nominee from 2013 to 15, community minister, human rights consultant, and special advisor to the International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State. Think about that statement. He's got an award-winning documentary film, Unrepentant. He's got 2 books coming out and a speaking tour, and you need to hear what this man has to say. Without further ado, Reverend Annett, have we got you?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I've been following your work for a long time, Reverend Annett, and on this show, we cover lies that are used to keep people in a perpetual state of poor health and poor judgment. And the lies don't just stop with healthcare. There are cultural lies that are meant to keep people down, and I'm a big fan of what you do. Now, this soft-spoken man has had a huge impact on the world around you, and chances are you've never heard of him, but he's got a weekly radio show over on the BBS network, and we've had him on this show before. He's appeared on the Alex Jones show. And Kevin, what is on your mind this morning? You've got a couple of books coming out and a speaking tour. What would you like to get into first here?
Well, I could start with that. I'll tell you about the 2 books. First of all, for folks who don't know, for many years, for over 20 years now, I've been involved in exposing, first of all, the genocide of Indigenous people right here on North America, in Canada and the U.S., and that, over time, not only forced the Canadian government to eventually admit these things, they issued a formal apology for these Indian boarding schools where over 50,000 children died, although they didn't touch on a lot of stuff. In 2008, they issued this so-called apology for it, and yet nobody ever went to trial once for any of these crimes, which were clearly genocide. But in the course of doing that work, I've broadened a lot of what I've been doing to take on the whole issue, which is very much a health issue, and that has to do with the child trafficking and abuse that goes on right within the system. And I'm working with groups all over the world that have documented not just child trafficking, but this kind of ongoing genocide against all sorts of people. And the 2 books I wanted to mention today are my latest books. One is called Unrelenting, and it's going to be out next month. I'm going to put notices about this up at my 2 websites, itccs.org, that's the Tribunal website, and kevinannett.com. You can see information about them up there. But in the first book, Unrelenting, I basically write the whole story, the saga of the last 20 years, how we got this story out, how we got the survivors of these crimes to come forward and force change out of the system. It's a real success and a kind of David and Goliath story, so it's quite, I've had a good time writing it, and it covers history and also my whole personal journey. The second book is equally important, and what it is an overall comprehensive report of these crimes going on our continent. It's written in response to this cover-up, this very organized cover-up the Canadian government did called a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and it was in neither of those things. After the residential school crimes began to come out, they did their own in-house whitewash, where they didn't allow any of this news of the killing of children, the medical experimentation on them, the trafficking of children, all these crimes of genocide, they've completely whitewashed out of the official report to make it look like, well, some children were harmed now and then, but we've apologized and given money, and it's all fixed. I mean, that's kind of the government and the church's position. So our report surfaces a lot of the evidence that this government commission actually buried. For example, we show how there are 28 mass grave sites all over the country of Canada where children are buried over thousands of unmarked graves. We've not only identified where they are, but we actually, in 3 years ago, we went to Brantford, Ontario, and actually excavated one of these mass grave sites and did find the remains of bones, school buttons, and things, which the bones turned out, in fact, to have come from young children. We had them analyzed by forensic anthropologists, and they were, in fact, the bones of children. And yet, believe it or not, nobody in the Canadian media reported that earth-shaking story. It was completely whitewashed. So, it's an example of this continued cover-up, and our counter-report, which is the second book I've written, is a way to bring all this truth out again. And here's the kind of final piece in my story, or for now, we have started a whole movement to establish Commonwealth courts that can actually put the government and churches, corporations, and any perpetrator in a high place, we can put them on trial as a citizens. It's called a tribunal of conscience, where citizens can try their own officials and leaders when they're committing crimes against them. So this is all very exciting, and it's kind of encapsulated by those two books.
It's amazing. And these things happened, and a long time they tried to bury it and, don't look at it, don't hear it. But at the same time, it just kept coming out so much. I mean, look at Jimmy Savile over in Britain working with the BBC. It came out that over 2,000 children were molested or killed or tortured. And it was all in the public eye, covered up by the BBC and the British government. And the guy was hanging out with the royal family all that time. And you can't tell me that the government or MI6 or MI5 or any of these guys had no idea that it was going on. So this is systemic in any British colony country or even the United States who claims to have broken free of British rule. It's entrenched and encapsulated in our culture. And, getting back to my first point, instead of trying to cover it up, now they're throwing it in your face. But I mean, if I was instrumental in covering up or perpetrating the death of that many children, I would not get off scot-free by saying, sorry about that. And
That's
it's
right.
Amazing to me. And it really goes into the fog that is over people's minds. But guess what? If they can do that to Native children, you think yours are safe? Can we get into that a little bit, Kevin? Yeah.
That's exactly the point, that the crimes of yesterday are continuing today. And if they're able to do things to us like, putting things in our water, using electronic weaponry on us, all these mind control technologies that are clearly out in the open now that the government have been doing, the first group they tested those things on were the Aboriginal children in these schools. Not just Native kids, but any child in a foster care situation. We know that in the United States, and the similar statistics in Canada, if you're a child in a government care system, you're 300 times more likely to be assaulted, sexually or physically assaulted. And, we know that the child trafficking goes on at the highest level. Child trafficking, like human trafficking, is a global industry, multi-billion-dollar industry, and there's big players involved in it. It isn't just a bunch of freaks doing internet porn. It's these corporate systems that are doing it, and the Roman Catholic Church is central to it. It's one of the things we've documented over the last number of years.
Yeah, and so, through that, I get it when people talk about how much they dislike Christians because these crimes are becoming more and more apparent, but Christianity has absolutely nothing to do with it. But they've taken on the cloak of Christianity to, we got to do everything for the children. We've got to develop vaccines. It's for the children. We've got to, everything that they do, it seems like, you know that you're having a scam perpetrated upon you if it's coming out of the mouth of somebody who's in somewhat of an official capacity, I mean,
that's right.
How do you know they're lying? Well, their lips are moving. And it's not just a lie. There's major damage being done to your culture, your children, and these things need to come out. And so you guys have established these common law courts, and could you get into that work a little bit and what's been done, the progression of it?
Yeah, well, we
go ahead,
had
Kevin.
to form these courts because we've tried for years, and by we, I mean myself and a very few number of people, mostly Aboriginal, who are working with me. Now, I don't mean the government-funded Indian chiefs. They are one of the biggest opponents to the work we're doing because they're just an arm of the government. I'm talking about the native people on the ground because I had a whole history for many years working as a street minister in Vancouver, Canada, and I knew a lot of these people. And, we, through our movements, we began to do things like protest. We occupied churches. We created an enormous public stink that got some media attention. And what we realized we had to do, we tried the usual route first. We gave information to lawyers. We tried to sue the government and the churches through the Canadian courts. What we found time and again, the courts kept ruling that, no, you cannot charge the Crown and the Vatican and the government of Canada with genocide. They said it was ultra vires or beyond our jurisdictional competence to basically charge their boss, the Crown, with crimes. Because under their system, a ruler can't be charged under their own laws. It's got to be another set of laws that, like anyone can be convicted of a crime, but not under their own laws. Like the Queen of England can't be tried under Crown law. But under international law, the Nuremberg precedents and, other international human rights conventions, yes, the Queen, the Pope, any Prime Minister or President, they can all be charged as citizens with having aided and abetted, even in the case of Queen Elizabeth, actually having abducted 10 children who were never seen again. That's a whole other story we have. But anyway, so we realized we needed a different kind of legal system to put Canada and these other powers on trial for genocide. So we did that. We, in 2012, after I had been over in Europe for a couple of years speaking there and working with other survivors of these crimes, like especially Catholic Church survivors of exactly the same kind of crimes that we had documented against natives, we established the International Tribunal.
Kevin, hold on right there. I've got to interrupt you. I hear the music. There's never enough time, but I want you to pick up exactly where you left off. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back after this break.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASA what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Welcome back to the Dr. Glidden Show. We are live. Got a very interesting special guest on this morning, and he's a man that I'm actually very proud to call my friend, and I've been following his work. This man has suffered great personal loss in his quest to bring forward the truth. And Kevin, you sound pretty chipper for a guy who's lost so much, but I mean, in losing, there's a certain gaining, and when you face your greatest fears of what you could lose, and then it happens, it opens you up to different possibilities and horizons. And you know, the reason that we're stuck in this situation is because so many people are afraid to speak up because they are afraid of loss, and in being afraid, you know, we have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yep.
And so I'd like you to pick up where you left off. We got a short segment before the half-hour break, but just jump right back in where you were, please, Kevin.
Okay, I'll get back to that. I just wanted to mention what you just said is very important, and that's kind of the theme of my book, Unrelenting, that's coming out, is that, you know, my life and what I've been through is an example to people that they can take everything from us. And in my case, it was my family, my children, my ability to earn a living, my public reputation. All of it was shattered. And yet, they can't take away from us our soul and our conscience. And once we hold on to that, we have unlimited power because we've overcome our fear. And you can't stop somebody like that after that. They can kill you, but your spirit continues to work on in the world. I know that for a fact now. So I want to just offer that to people as an inspiration to say, yeah, we don't have to be kept down by our own fears. Because in my case, I've shown that, you know, we can move mountains when we overcome that. So I think that's a really important point, and thanks for raising it. I was talking about the tribunal we set up in 2010 in Europe, and right away we realized that we needed to set up our own legal system to try church and state leaders when they were involved in planning and then covering up these crimes. And so we convened a common law court in Brussels, and we put out a call for citizen jurors. We worked with some judges and lawyers in Europe setting this up. And the first case we tried was the case we had the most evidence about, which was all of these crimes of genocide in Canada and by connection in across North America. And we tried 30 defendants, including Pope Benedict, Joseph Ratzinger, Queen Elizabeth, the heads of state in Canada, the heads of all these churches that had committed all these crimes. And the trial went on for 3 months. It was conducted like a normal court. We subpoenaed the defendants. None of them responded, which was interpreted as an admission of guilt.
Right.
Because when you don't respond to a charge being set against you, it means you're not contesting it under the law. And none of them did.
Silence equals consent, right?
Exactly. So eventually the 58 citizen jurors found these parties guilty. Now, what was very interesting is that verdict came out in February 2013, in the same 2-week period that Pope Benedict resigned. That was an unprecedented historical resignation by a pope during peacetime, and it never happened before. And we know for a fact, because we're in touch with people in the Spanish government, The Spanish, 5 days before he resigned, the Spanish government had notified the Vatican that if Ratzinger, Pope Benedict, ever came into the Spanish territory, they would consider issuing an arrest warrant because he had signed letters ordering bishops all over the world to cover up child abuse and child trafficking. It was in his own, signature over this letter. And on the basis of that, he said, "You're committing you're a felon. You're encouraging Catholic priests to circumvent the laws of their own country and protect child rapists." And that's in fact a standing policy in the Vatican to do that. So on that basis, he then resigns, as does 3 other officials we had named and indicted, including the Vatican Secretary of State, 2 other cardinals. They all stepped down eventually, including recently the head of the Jesuits, who we had also named, Adolfo Pachon. So it has an impact. And when you can force the heads of the most powerful corporation in the world to step down, that means you've got power. And the power is coming from the truth that we had documented and taken to the next step, not just documenting it, but putting these people on trial. We proved it works.
It's amazing. And one word that stuck out to me, corporation. When people look at the Catholic Church, they think religiosity cloaked in the mantle of Jesus Christ. Nothing could be further from the truth. They are a power and money entity. End of story. Their conquest is domination. It has nothing to do with helping the poor or anything that Jesus Christ actually spoke about. And it's just amazing. Like I said at the beginning of the show, this slight, soft-spoken man, after losing everything, charged on and actually got a sitting pope to step down. I hear the music. We got a hard break, and we're going to talk about what has happened since then, successes, failures. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden with Reverend Kevin Annett. We'll be back after this hard break. Great guest on this morning, Reverend Kevin Annett. We were talking about how his efforts and the efforts of the International Tribunal for Crimes of Church and State brought down a sitting pope. But they, the guy that they brought in after him was just as bad. Can we get into that a little bit, Kevin?
Yeah, well, he's a spin doctor, Jorge Bergoglio, just
right.
like Obama was brought in after George Bush to put a kind of new face on things, and the present Prime Minister of Canada after Stephen Harper. I mean, this is a standard damage control operation. You bring in a new guy who smiles a lot, and everyone assumes things are going to change. The reality is this new Pope Francis, Jorge Bergoglio, himself is guilty of trafficking children while he was an Argentine archbishop. During the dirty war in Argentina in the 1980s, over 30,000 people were killed by the military dictatorship there. And Bergoglio, the present pope, was a good buddy of General Videla and all the dictators. He used to go around giving talks, promoting the junta as a progressive force, and he would take children of political prisoners and traffic them for a lot of money. I mean, priests have even given testimony about his role in that. And yet here he is posing as a great, reformer, which in fact hasn't occurred. He's, despite a lot of statements, usually which the cardinals then disavow, his statements haven't translated in any kind of actual reform. He's still standing by this policy called Crimen Solicitanus, which governs every Catholic priest in the world, and it says in writing that when children are raped in the Catholic Church, it's not to be reported. The police are not to be told, and the victim is to be silenced, and if the priest talks about it, he's excommunicated. So this policy is a criminal conspiracy to protect child rapists. If you want to read it, you just go to our site, hiddennolonger.com, Appendix 9, and it's right there. It was released to a London newspaper in 2004. So that policy makes every Catholic priest in the world and the present pope part of a criminal conspiracy, and that's one of the bases on which we tried and convicted them.
I'm glad that you mentioned, with meet the new boss, same as the old boss. I mean, Canadians were basically duped. I talked to people who, during the last federal election, they said things to me like, I said, well, so who did you vote for? You know what I mean? Just to see what they had to say about it. And they said, well, we went and voted for Justin Trudeau. Basically, and the reason they gave was because he's different and it'll be kooky and fun and it's trendy and oh, look at his hair. And I mean, we're talking about a guy who grew up in the halls of power, okay? I mean, he knew all of these people, and it's the same damn thing over and over again.
It gets worse, Mike. In fact, his dad, Pierre Trudeau, the Prime Minister, was Jesuit educated, and I've spoken to people in Montreal who knew the Trudeaus, and they are convinced that basically Justin's a Manchurian candidate. He was programmed at a young age by Jesuit trainers, and I've known people in Ontario who knew him fairly well when he was a younger guy, and clearly he has all the earmarks of a mind-controlled politician.
You can hear it when he speaks.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is not at all surprising. And the other fact, regardless of who the figurehead is in Canada, when you vote, and most Canadians don't realize that, read the oath of allegiance that every member of Parliament takes once you're elected. It doesn't matter what your political party is, they all take the same oath of allegiance, not to the people of Canada or a constitution, but to Queen Elizabeth II and all of her descendants, period. So when you vote somebody into office in Canada, you are signing away your authority to a foreign monarch, a foreign ruler who is not accountable to the people of Canada. And neither are the members of Parliament accountable to the voters, but to a foreign monarch with blood on her hands, who's already been criminally convicted. So that was and it kind of leads on to the next point. In Canada, like in any Commonwealth country, there is no longer any legitimate head of state, if there ever was. As a criminally convicted felon, Elizabeth Windsor has no authority, and neither does the Crown of England in Canada. So there's a political vacuum, and people need to reestablish legitimate authority, and there was a movement started this last year to establish a republic in Canada. And that's tied into the common law courts and everything. So this is one of the things people can do to say, well, how can we stop these crimes today? Pull out of the system, stop paying the taxes, establish new kinds of legal and political systems so that we don't have to be part of these crimes anymore.
Well, it's interesting when you watch the speech from the throne that's given every year by the Governor General, who is appointed by the Crown, the Prime Minister or the guy that everybody thinks is our leader sits on a little rickety stool beside a big golden-crusted throne where the Governor General gives the speech. And the Governor General, incidentally, is the head of the military as well, and the Queen's representative. The Queen can prorogue Parliament anytime they want. They can scrub anything they want, and that's what Canadians don't understand. So what are some of the tricks that they use to convince you that they have any kind of jurisdiction over you whatsoever?
Well, as with a pope, and don't forget, a pope and a queen, and those single rulers are a medieval anachronism. They go against the law of God. They go against the law of man to have a single ruler over anybody. That's explicitly stated in the Bible. It's stated in all of the precepts of law that any tyrant is inevitably going to usurp power from people. So don't even have them in the first place. The way they do it in the modern spin operations is the media always make these people look so nice. Like even politically conscious people say, well, she's just this harmless old woman in England. What's the problem? The problem is that, as you said, she exerts, and the Crown, which is really the City of London, it's a corporation, the banking cartel, but they have absolute authority. She owns all the land. All the treaties signed with natives say they acknowledge that the Crown, this fictitious corporation that she's the figurehead of, that the Crown owns all lands and resources in Canada. So if people like living under dictatorships and, mommy and daddy can take away your political power whenever they want, they can choose to be slaves, but anyone who's woken up chooses not to be.
Well, and that gets into contract law. I mean, isn't a contract, does not the signature of a contract need to understand the terms? Otherwise, that contract is null and void, in my understanding.
Exactly. And in fact, when you elect somebody, there should be conditions attached. First of all, who are you accountable to? Who's paying you? Second of all, if you do not fulfill these obligations, you are out. So people do not surrender their sovereignty. That was Rousseau's, Jean-Jacques Rousseau in The Social Contract, which I really urge everyone to read. It was the basis of the American Republic, when there used to be one, that just because you give your authority to somebody doesn't mean you surrender your sovereignty. You can remove that sovereignty at all times because we are sovereign men and women. We do not have to go along with the system. We can remove, and that's why we set up these common law courts and the Republic of Canada, because we refuse to be part of a genocidal system anymore.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing is, every weekend on TBS we're showing Schindler's List or, these different Hollywood fabrications. Basically, we're good because look what Hitler did. And you know what I mean? And it was the same thing that happened over there was happening on our own soil. And in fact, Hitler used what happened over here as a template for what he did. But we're good because we're on this side, they were on that side, and they've been riding on that past so-called glory ever since I was a child. And it was funny because when I was a kid, I was not average. I was kind of different. I would sit up until 4 o'clock in the morning reading encyclopedias in my room, and I got the same story. World War II. Hitler was bad. He made people go into ovens. We were good. We kicked his butt. The end. USA, USA. And I thought to myself, I don't believe I've met anybody that could actually push somebody into an oven. and so there was this narrative painted where we were the glorious, wonderful people that stopped evil in the world. And, there was a few years of peace, and now we needed this new enemy. So it's Islam. It's us versus them. It's East versus West. There's always this paradigm where there's this existential threat, and a whole lot of innocent, well-meaning people that just want to feed and look after their families are caught in the middle.
Well, yeah, because they're for two main reasons. A small elite can only control their population by having an external enemy to rally everybody against.
Right.
That, Orwell talks about that in 1984. Secondly, it's what keeps the economy going. It's a $1 billion a day arms industry that keeps the American and Western economies alive. And, it's all based on that. So, of course, you need to create continual enemies. I mean, that's why the so-called bogus terrorist threat is perfect, because you never see the enemy. It's a perpetual enemy that will continue to fuel the arms economy from here to kingdom come. So, once people wake up to that, they realize Hitler was just the same genocide as what happened over here. As a matter of fact, there were, under Project Paperclip, where they brought Nazi criminals over to North America after World War II.
Right.
A lot of those Nazi scientists worked in Indian hospitals and residential schools to work on these mind control techniques that they're now using on all of us. So, people have got to dig a bit deeper. And we've documented all of this, and it'll all be in our new counter report to the TRC that's coming out. And let me just add, too, that if people want to copy that, they can write to me, Hidden From History 1, like number 1, Hidden From History 1 at gmail.com.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And, it's mind-blowing, but at the same time, this is the history of the world that we live in. Do you ever foresee a day when the fires of liberty will ignite in the minds of men on a global stage and we finally, get rid of these shackles? I mean, do you see it happening?
It's already happening. The fact that we were able to bring down that Pope, the fact that I'm persona non grata, as are the people I work with, anywhere in Canada, it shows their back is to the wall. And the biggest difficulty is our own minds, the fact that we think there are these rulers with unlimited power, and people are going around very divided, very frightened, and we just have to let go of that fear, step out of it. And I don't mean to trivialize it by saying it's easy, but in a way we have to go through our own dark night, our own trauma, to see that past the illusion of fear and everything. And so that's why, again, with my book Unrelenting, I talk a lot about that, my own personal journey in overcoming those things. And I think it's a lesson for all of us.
Absolutely. And you've got a speaking tour coming up. Where will that be posted at kevinannette.com or itccs.org? Where's your schedule going to be at, so people can go and hear you?
Yeah, it will be, Mike. It'll be up soon. During February, we're going to get these books published, and the speaking tour is going to start during March, and it'll extend 2 months, March and April, through all over North America. Then I'm going over to Europe, where I've been invited. And so, you can look for me in March and April. And again, if people want to know specifically if I can come to their community, just write to me, Hidden From History.
We got a break, Kevin. I got to cut you off. We'll get you after this break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're live. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden on the Dr. Glidden Show, and you can hear more interviews over at healthconspiracyzone.com. We will be posting information on Kevin Annette's work and the ITCCS on a regular basis, and I'd like to read you a quote from Samuel Adams. The natural liberty of man is to be free from any superior power on earth, and not to be under the will or legislative authority of man, but only to have the law of nature for his rule. Reverend Kevin Annette with us today. We got a short final segment. There's never enough time. What would you like to talk about in the final minutes, Reverend Annette?
Well, I always say to people that we all have much more power than we realize, and what these, I think that awareness of our own power is born in the course of these struggles. It doesn't just drop out of heaven.
Right.
It has to almost be earned in the sense of what we do every day. And so what I think, I often say to people is that learning things is just the first step. Then you have to say, how am I going to do something about it in my own community? And we start locally with people. We say, these crimes against children, these assaults on our liberties, everything happening to us, our land, our environment, everything starts locally. We can do something about it locally. So one of the things we're doing is not just in Canada, but in many places, including in America, we're encouraging people to organize local assemblies where they can start talking about how they want their community to be, the laws they want to see in place. Establish those laws. Establish your own common law courts. Get your common law sheriffs to go and make citizen arrests on these child-raping priests. We've done that already, including with Native people in Canada. We've gone in and banished Catholic priests from these areas by saying, you're a threat to children. We don't want you in our communities. So once we start taking action from the grassroots like that, you see incredible changes starting, because the people who think they're in power are frightened by that when people start waking up at the grassroots like that. So that's where I put a lot of my work nowadays, organizing workshops, training workshops where we can give people the common law, use this knowledge as a way to activate them, to take back, to reclaim our minds, our lives, our children, and our whole world. And that's kind of the bigger purpose of what I'm doing now, and it's very much a health issue because it has to do with our survival.
Well, absolutely. And if you didn't have any power, then why would they spend billions and billions and trillions of dollars, time and energy, media, all of this to convince you that you don't?
Exactly. That's the point.
That is the point. Absolutely. Amazing stuff.
So let me just give folks a final reminder, itccs.org and kevinannett.com, ANNETT, kevinannett.com. There'll be notices there about my speaking tour and my two new books, Unrelenting and our counter report to the whitewash of genocide in Canada. And like I said, Mike, I'm going to be on speaking tour in March and April, and please write to me, hiddenfromhistory1@gmail.com, and I will come and work with you in your communities.
Well, if you're going to be in Edmonton, I'm going to try and make a point of getting up there to meet you face to face finally, and bring as many people as I can.
I'm going.
Right. Yeah, I'm just 45 minutes away. Kevin, this has been a great interview, and there's so much more that we could get into, but all of these all of this is on YouTube. People can go and watch it for themselves. You can hear the testimony of people who have been railroaded and destroyed. But, the more they do that, the more the truth comes out. And, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they attack you, then they win, then you win. And that is the words of Mahatma Gandhi. And that is the situation we find ourselves in today. And I believe that this is a war worth fighting. And it's not one where you're going to go and pick up a gun and attack somebody or threaten violence against someone. It's one where you got to set brush fires of liberty in the minds of men.
Well, like John Adams said, the revolution occurred first in the hearts and minds of the people before the first shots were ever fired, and that's what we're doing. So, Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the chance to be on the air.
Thanks for coming on, Kevin, and we'll have you back sometime. This is Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back tomorrow with Tim Boland, one of the founding fathers of the fight for health freedom. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't take on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with Reputation Defender, a service from Reputation.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with Reputation Defender. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with Reputation Defender. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit reputationdefender.com.
Hello, my name is Don Wiskin from HeartDrop.com, the distributors of Extendivite, the #1 heart drop that people have been raving about for years. Every February for the last 16 years, HeartDrop.com has had a Heart Month sale to help you stay heart healthy. For only $115 plus shipping and handling, you can get a 4-month supply of Extendivite in either liquid or capsule form to help you get started on your path to better health. Now is the time to stock up. Order what you need. Stay heart healthy all year with the #1 heart drop, Extendivite. To order your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
I'm Jesse Gonzalez, Vice President at Kmart. Did you know that premature birth is the #1 killer of babies in the United States, or that survivors can face a lifetime of serious health problems? But you can help. Join me in Kmart for the March for Babies Walk. We'll work together to raise funds for research and programs that help the Marchionites fight premature birth and birth defects and improve the health of moms and babies. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria, which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook, Supernatural Silver.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise at gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.